Hi, I'm here today with Pete Jacobs. Pete's an international triathlon, a world famous triathlon, and he's been a professional competitor since 2004. I'd like to welcome you here today, Pete. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here.
Now, I know you've come here off the back of competing at Kona in Hawaii, and I know that you placed 8th in that, but let's come back to that in a sec. Can you tell me first of all, what is an Ironman?
An Ironman is just a long distance triathlon. It's 3.8 kilometre swim, 180 kilometre ride, and then a marathon at the end, 42 kilometre run.
Okay,
and, yeah, it was just evolved out of those distances on the island of Hawaii 30 years ago from 3 different events: an ocean swim, a cycle race that was around the island, and then a marathon that was the Hawaii Marathon. And they put all the events together and came up with the Ironman triathlon.
Okay, so that's actually the original, where it really sort of all began.
Yeah, it's where triathlon began. The first triathlon was basically the Ironman event, the long distance triathlon.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you've just come back from competing in Kona.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, how are you feeling? How do you feel about coming 8th? I mean, that's a fantastic achievement.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with it. It was obviously a very tough event, but also a really good year with really good competitors this year. A few new competitors that have come up from the shorter distance races, like a few other world champions and guys that have won some of the biggest races in the world over like the shorter distance came up. And then, there was about 4 returning, world champions as well for the Ironman distance. So yeah, it was an awesome field of people and a really hot, tough day. So yeah, in one of the toughest, most competitive triathlons in the world, I'm rapt to have come 8th.
That's fantastic. Well, it's just such an achievement. It's wonderful. And so let me ask you, with an Ironman event, obviously, do you do any, how do you train for something like that?
I probably do a lot less training than a lot of the other guys. I've kind of focused my training more on technique and resting more. But I mean, still got to get out there and do a couple of long rides a week of, sort of 5 hours on the bike. And probably run about 80 to 90 kilometres a week as well. And swimming's my strength, so I don't need to swim too much. I probably mainly swim 6k a week. That's what I was actually going to ask you as well. So you're actually stronger in swimming than the other disciplines? Yeah, swimming is my strongest leg of the triathlon, and I can come out of the water very close to the front or in front in most of my races. Just because I swum since I was little and I did a lot of surf lifesaving events. And that's just helped my technique, and now I can improve myself and work on my own technique in my own time with a minimal amount of kilometres per week. That's fantastic. Yeah. Wow, it's a lot of work you put in. It can be, at times.
Now let me ask you about the Australian competitors. Obviously, you're Australian and you've come 8th at Kona, and you've got Crowe, who finished, you came first, you won at Kona, fantastic. And Chris McCormack, Macca, came in at 4th. That's huge for Australians in the sport. What I want to, I guess, ask you is, is triathlon recognised in Australia? Is it a strong sport in Australia? Is it growing?
Well, back in 2000 at the Olympics, obviously there was a lot of buzz about it. But since then, unfortunately, it's made a few wrong decisions. And a few of the governing bodies, both in Australia and the World Triathlon Corporation, have directed their energies in different ways and hasn't ended up promoting triathlon in Australia in the best way. Some of the races have disappeared and haven't actually improved any at all over the last 9 years. So it's improving now. There's things happening in the near future with new races coming soon. Like the Ironman is growing in Australia, and that profile of the event's gonna get bigger and bigger, and hopefully that increases everything else: the prize money, the attendance, the media, and Australia can just keep moving from strength to strength.
That's fantastic, isn't it? So it's definitely growing. It's a sport that does have a lot of potential for growth.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get right down to it. At the moment, coming 8th in Kona, having done so well in so many different events, Do you actually make money? Can I ask you that, Pete? Do you make money out of competing in triathlon?
I make a little bit of money. There's some races that, you know, I get flown to Germany and appearance fee, and I get a bonus as well as prize money. But there are other races which I can go and do and make very, very little money in. Still, it comes a lot from the sponsorships. Yeah. So at the moment I've got very little sponsorship. It hasn't been a focus of my energy, because I prefer to sort of focus my energy on something more tangible, like doing some landscaping work or swim coaching and triathlon coaching, rather than just spend days and days, you know, following up trying to get sponsorship, which can in the end leave you a little bit lack of confidence if you get, you know, someone just saying, oh well, you know, we're not that interested, or things like that. So yeah, on the back of this result though, I'm definitely talking to a lot of people, and it's a lot easier to get a good response from them. So yeah, now the next sort of 12 months is looking really good, and I'm going to build on that and build my sponsorship, and then also focus on the races that do pay good prize money, but also the races that pay none at all, but which give my sponsors a lot of good exposure here in Australia.
Of course, so that's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you do a lot of work then, not just for your own personal training, but you help other people with their training, with their swimming and their triathlete and triathlon preparation? Yeah.
Well, for myself, I've learnt how much technique matters, and if I focus on technique in my training, I can do a lot less hours, but I get a lot more benefit from it. So, you know, I really enjoy passing that on and trying to improve the technique of others in the swim, bike and run as well. And also just the way that I train and basically train less rather than overtraining. Yeah, I also enjoy coaching people for triathlon in their whole program, to train a little bit less and not overdo it, and stay injury free through technique and good training. Yeah. So I enjoy that, and you know, I've had some good results with a few guys that I've been coaching, so that's another really rewarding aspect of it, because day to day in training I don't really get any rewards. I can have a good day in training and be happy, but at the end of the week you often haven't achieved anything as such. So to do a bit of coaching or landscaping and actually, you know, get some feedback and be proud of something you've done each week, it's a bit more of a rewarding career. But of course I've still got to fit in that training and get out there on my own and train for the big races as well.
Yeah, that's huge. Does nutrition play a big part? Like, are you on a special diet?
Oh, not so much a special diet. I watch what I eat. I eat really healthy.
Do you ever just go, right, I'm just going to eat the bucket of KFC and, you know, I don't care anymore? I've
certainly had a fair bit of McDonald's and Hungry Jacks and things, even post-race. If there's nothing else better, I mean, you've still got to eat. Yeah. You don't want to go hungry, especially before a race, or even after a race. You know, you really just need to keep fueling your body, because your metabolism's just gone into overload. So yeah, whatever is the best option I go with before the race, and then post race, pretty much whatever I'm hungry for, which will be a burger or anything, just to get a lot of calories in there, to get a lot of food in there. Yeah. But yeah, generally I eat the best, whatever's the best option.
Okay. Yeah. Great, fantastic. You've achieved so much already. You know, you've Kona, you've done so much already. What's coming up now that you've conquered Kona? What's coming up?
Just taking a bit of a break, a short little holiday, but basically working on getting sponsorship over this period where I'm not training too much and recovering. So I've got a fair bit of work to do there. But then after that, back into training. Locally there's a few small races, biathlons and club races and things like that I'll start getting back into. And then probably next year, January and February, there's quite a few big races, and defend my Australian title over the long course, and in February, and a few other big races, and then try and go one better at Ironman Australia, where I came second, and really try and win that event this year as well.
Fantastic. Well, good luck with all of that, Pete, and thanks for coming and talking to me.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.